Hello, I'm Darrell Goodman, Director at Achieve It Solutions. Thank you for attending today's webinar, What's New and Coming for Resolv Desktop Mobility for SAP Business One in 2017. In this, we're going to be going over the new features that we have introduced, as well as our roadmap for the rest of 2017 with respect to Resolv. So with respect to Resolv for SAP Business One, we are supporting the most current release. It's SAP version 9.2 PL6. We have support for the 50-character item code enhancements as just one of the examples. We'll go through several of the other examples, of course, as well. We offer it as a 64-bit add-on, and it's available for both the Microsoft SQL and SAP HANA platforms. In terms of what's coming, with respect to SAP Business One 9.3, they have planned functionality that will give us the ability to do RMAs, and so we will support 9.3 more than likely on the day of its release. In addition to that, we will also be creating a mobile version of the customer and vendor RMA functions. We also expect to be supporting SAP Fiori 2.0 and expanded functionality within HTML5. With respect to our order-to-cash module, the order-to-cash module has had several exciting enhancements. The pricing and availability tab is one of the really great tabs that allows you to answer common questions. So the most common question you get when you're talking with a customer is, do you have enough inventory and how much does it cost? So by bringing that information together as opposed to having it be scattered in different parts of Business One, we're able to quickly and easily give the information to the customer. And we've combined that with a new feature called the Order Pad, which will allow you to take the interaction and make it, something where you're able to record the quantity that they might want. We can save it for later, or we'll be able to convert it to a quote or to an order. And we'll be showing that shortly. In addition to that, we've also added a couple of different tabs for service and campaigns as well, and we'll go through those. And we've also expanded the WMS tabs in the OTC as well. We plan to introduce social media integration, so that we'll be able to give you visibility into, for instance, Twitter. In the Twitter feed, we'll be able to keep track of your feed from your customers. So if you get positive or negative brand mentions, or just conversations. So when you're talking to a customer, if you're taking a telephone order, you'll be able to have access to, for instance, to what they recently tweeted. Might be able to spark interest. So a couple of different ways that you can use social media as one of the new digital tools to really enhance your customer interactions. We also are going to be offering our order-to-cash module on the mobile platform, and that will be available for SAP Fiori and HANA. And we've expanded the data messenger integrations, as well as adding some additional functionality for quality control. We also have enhanced our freight management program. So the freight management program is similar to our freight control, for those of you that are familiar with the freight control module. And the freight control still exists as it did on the Microsoft SQL, whereas freight management is the equivalent on the HANA platform. One of the exciting functions is that it does not require an ODBC connection out to, for instance, a UPS World Ship or a FedEx Ship Management Workstation. Instead, you'll be able to use web services. So everything will be created and managed directly inside of SAP Business One. We currently have support for UPS, US Postal Service, FedEx, as well as being able to offer integrations through Pitney Bowes and Edisha. And we also offer enhanced packaging functionality in the HANA platform. And again, this is a supplement for the HANA module. The freight control module is still available for SQL and continues to work, and we continue to improve that. Again, what's coming, we expect to add additional carriers coming forward as we work through it in freight management. For container management, we've expanded the functionality to be included in the WMS mobility platform. And what's going to be exciting is that we have an upcoming partner container web portal. And the purpose for that is to allow external partners, people who are manufacturers or freight forwarders that are going to be working with the container, will be able to log in and create and maintain and update the status of your container detail for you. And this will give increased visibility and reduced overhead. So we're pretty excited about the container portal and allowing people to get access to it. Of course, within the warehouse management system, we've expanded the search functionality. We've added bin replenishment functionality, the item bin history, the ability to support the SAP physical counts has been expanded, which again, like the SQL product, continues to support the ability to work with both the inventory count and inventory posting in Business One using a couple of different counting models. Full support for SAP serial and batch allocations. New reports that we'll go over for item and bin velocity, wave picking, reports and analytics, packaging, and we've also enhanced the authorizations, giving you more control over the handheld. We have the availability of the quality control module, as well as when you're using a device like a smart device that's got an integrated camera, you can actually take a picture and have that be saved, for instance, as an attachment on the goods receipt PO. And if you can also see and view the attachments from inside Business One, as well as add attachments to the documents. In terms of what's coming, as we get into 9.3 and it gets supported, we expect to have SAP Fiori 2.0. We're going to be adding messaging and notifications. We're also going to be adding license plate functionality, directed put-away functionality, more reporting and analytics. And again, as we mentioned earlier, we're going to be supporting and creating the ability to manage and scan your RMAs based off of customer and vendors when the 9.3 version comes out. We also are announcing the availability of our advanced costing and pricing module. This will be released in the second quarter, and it's a really great module, again, available for both SQL and HANA. This is a great tool because it gives the ability to do aggregate costing and pricing. And what aggregate costing and pricing means, although it's got lots of other features with it as well, is that you can take a multi-row approach to being able to come up with quantity breaks. So in SAP Business One, we have the ability to do quantity breaks within a specific SKU or a specific item code. And then we've enhanced that to be able to make it so that if you have related items, they could be similar items within the exact same family. So for instance, multiple colors within a particular product line, or they could just be multiple items that are related by an item group. Whatever your definition is going to be able to group these items together, you'll be able to count the quantity and be able to aggregate that quantity across the order to be able to make sure that you give the appropriate price breaks across the different rows and have that be automated for you. And that is true both on the purchasing and on the selling side. We also offer ship-to specific pricing, and this gives you the ability to take customers that have different ship-tos and be able to treat them, and manage their buying program differently. So if they are related customers, but they've got, different agreements with you, you'll be able to expand the pricing and be able to manage that. We also are going to be offering authorized items, and authorized items are going to allow you to restrict which products you can sell to which customer. And this is particularly good with distributors that are selling, for instance, to authorized or certified retailers. And we want to make sure that if the distributor is carrying multiple different product lines, but the manufacturer, for example, only allows you to sell to authorized retailers, that you don't accidentally sell a product to an unauthorized customer. So by being able to bring that into the system and manage that, that's going to add a significant benefit. And we also have created enhanced rules to be able to calculate free freight. So you'll be able to define, what your free freight rules are going to be. They can be based on a combination of different rules, and it will ultimately determine when you can get free freight. After that, in the third and fourth quarters, we're expecting to add some additional functionality related to spot pricing. Again, spot pricing is an acronym meaning special pricing agreements, and what it allows you to do is to create a special pricing program specific to customers and vendors. And so a lot of the times when you have jobs, for example, or other types of special order, you are going to go to the vendor and you're going to negotiate with the vendor based on the expected customer. Even in some cases it might be just a category of the customer where maybe it's a government customer or something along those lines. And so you want to be able to have a relationship between the buying program and the selling program so that you can ensure that you are getting the best price for yourself, to be able to keep track of the price that you need to give to the customer, to be able to create the appropriate reporting to give back to the vendor. So that's what will be coming with the spot pricing, as well as being able to manage additional things such as the customer and vendor rebate programs. And what that happens is a lot of the times you will create, particularly on the vendor side, a scenario where you buy a product potentially at list price or some other distribution price, and then if you achieve certain incentives or milestones, whether it's crossing a number of units or total revenue, or you're able to go ahead and claim those back from the vendor as rebates. We want to make sure that we are able to track those and be able to manage the program and be able to have the detail. And then similarly, we might offer rebates to our customers. We want to be able to make sure that we're tracking those things. So being able to do a customer and vendor rebate program will be something that will come out again in the third or fourth quarter. With that, we're going to go ahead and move into product demonstration. We're going to go ahead and start with the HANA product, and then we'll complete with going over the SQL product. So here again, you can see this is SAP Business One 9.2 PL6, and we're going to go ahead and start with the changes that we had to the order to cash customer inquiry. Here you can see we've added the WMS tab to the order inquiry, and you get the ability to do a lot with this. So you have customer service people that want to be able to answer questions about whether something's been partially shipped or whether or not an order can be modified. And you want to give them access to it without needing to necessarily stop and find the warehouse manager or try to call down to them. And so here you'll see that you're able to get full insight into both opened and closed documents. So you'll notice up here right now we have open documents. So this is going to be documents that are still to be picked for some reason. And so what I can look at if I want to see the back orders, for example, is I can come in here and look at the pick status and see the partially delivered orders. And you'll notice that it refreshes and shows me just the orders that are partially delivered. Again, if I am a sales manager or a customer service manager, I might be using this as an example to go out and contact these customers and make them aware of the fact that we had a back order and giving us the ability to improve our customer service. In addition to that, we may need to be able to use the different priorities. So you can see here there's different priorities. Not everyone has a priority, but if I was to come in here and say, okay, what's my second priority, you can see that's able to go ahead and filter down further. So in addition to working on the priorities, you can also filter down to specifically the picker. So if I want to see just myself, what I've picked, these are going to be the ones that I've partially delivered. And if I'm responsible for that, I can go back and try to verify what happened and research them. Again, this is a combination. So I can look at it from the point of view of all of the documents that I've picked. Once again, I have the ability to use the pick date, so I could go back and look at open documents. I can look at the closed documents, filter on particular pick dates, and see both as well. And then you also have the ability to get right into the item detail from here. So if you do the show item detail, I can see the exact products that are outstanding, with the last couple of filters being the ability to filter on your carrier method, so being able to find the ones that are supposed to go out next day air, for example, or even being specific to the different transaction types. So really giving people full visibility to be able to give salespeople, customer people, warehouse managers, whoever's using this, the information they need to be able to answer the questions right from the order to cash screen. We've also added the Opportunity tab. As you know, opportunities in Business One give you the ability to keep track of your sales pipeline. And, once again, this can be filtered. So depending on who's coming into the customer inquiry, a lot of the times we have salespeople that are coming in and they want to be able to get their snapshot or their overview. So they look and see what's happening out with their existing quotations. They follow up on their open orders. They might look to see what happened last week in terms of their invoicing. Now they have the opportunity to come directly into the Opportunities tab and be able to see and manage their opportunities. And then we've also supported ServiceNow, so you can come in here and see all of the equipment card information. You have the ability to filter, so if we wanted to be able to see, for example, everything that was in the Midwest, we can come in here and choose the Midwest territory. That in turn filters the results set down, and then I could also once again filter further to be able to see just the equipment that's assigned to me, and so I can use this. Similarly, we have the ability to come in and take a look at the service contracts. So here again, since I'm showing item detail, I'm able to see my service contract and all the items that are covered. You do have the ability to filter based on open or closed and be able to see your service calls as well. And as you look in the service calls, again, you have the ability to look at your documents. So for example, I could say I want to filter just on my service calls. These are open service calls. I could look at my history as well. And now, in addition to that, I want to find out just the ones that are high priority. So I filter on that, and it brings me down to the records that I need to work at. So once again, this is going to give me the ability to see what the service call is, what the item is, really be able to just quickly and easily use the information. Of course, campaigns are supported as well. Campaigns, you have the ability to come in here and filter based on response, so I can see, who's interested. I can see who is not interested. I can see different dates. I can look at the value by status to see just ones, which ones belong to me. I can also, look at it by the campaign type. So all in all, it really brings a nice, completeness to the order to cash and adds a lot of functionality to it. And again, as I mentioned, we talked about the pricing and availability, and pricing and availability is really a very useful tool because it takes the information that's currently in several different places throughout Business One and brings it into a single location for you. So if you notice here, you can see we have this item right now being repeated several times. That's because the citronella candle is available in multiple warehouses. So perhaps I'm just interested in being able to talk with my customer about what I have available in my New York warehouse. You can now see that the New York warehouse is filtered upon, and I'm able to see the on-hand quantity, the available quantity for all of my different products. Now, in addition to that, I can also come in here and say, okay, well, I'm speaking to Dollar General. So when I'm speaking to Dollar General, you'll notice that what it did automatically is it turned on this checkbox for previous sales. So it's now filtering on just those items that they've previously bought from my New York warehouse. So that citronella candle they don't buy, but they do buy multiple other products from me. In addition to that, it also automatically changed the price list to the price list that's associated with the customer. So again, when I'm giving people their price information and I'm telling them how much I have available to sell to them and what my unit price is, I'm able to see all of that information directly here on the pricing and availability tab. Now also, if I take a look at this legal pad here, I have immediate access to see, for instance, are there alternative items? So I can see, yes, there are in fact 2 alternative items, and able to get to the product matches and the match factor. Again, this is all the standard Business One functionality. We're just bringing it together. I can also look at the past sales, where I can, if I'm getting a question about, well, I think I previously bought it for a different price, you can go back and you can look at what the pricing history was, or being able to, compare against other customers, whatever it is that you need to do to be able to negotiate. Same thing, of course, is true with the available to promise. Now, the next thing that would wind up happening is when you're giving people this information, it might result in a scenario where you are going to get an interest from them. And so that gives you the ability to turn on this order pad feature. And the order pad feature is useful because now what I'm able to come in here and do is say, okay, I want, 10 of these pens, and I want, 15 of the staplers, and whatever it's going to be. So you just come in here, and as you're answering the questions about what you have availability for and what the price is, you're able to just simply come in here and choose the quantity that you want. Now, if you are working with them and you don't think that you're going to get the quote or the order at the moment, but you think that they might be interested in this, you can also save this. By saving it, what it does is it creates an automatic file for you, so that if you come back, so let's say we got off the phone in there and they come back and they say, okay, now I want to go back over what we just reviewed, you don't have to keep those notes. Instead, you can just come into load entry, and we can go ahead and we can take the file. So in this case, I'm just going to take one of the earlier files here. You can see it populates with the values that we had saved from our discussion. At this point, I have the ability to simply click Create Quotation, and it will automatically bring in the quotation, doing all the data entry for us. So it has, the customer, the product, the correct quantity, and of course now I can just simply add the quotation. If I don't want a quotation, or if you want to go straight to an order, for example, I can also come in here and do Create Order, and that will bring up the order form. Once I have the sales order here, let's take a look at some of the things that freight management has added. Now, we have available on both the quote and the order. In this case, I'm just working on the order, the ability to do several different freight management functions. So here, for example, if I change this to the Port Jefferson warehouse, you'll notice that, standard SAP, but if I drill in here, I'm able to get a couple of different functions that are added. So one is that I can come in here and capture the email address that they want to be able to get. So if they want to be able to get notified to, shipments at Dollar General, you can come in here and fill that in. Now, in addition to that, there's also an address verification function. And what the address verification function does is it goes out and, there isn't a 3 Main Street. So it will come in here and it will offer the appropriate addresses, the ones that it can find the match for. So I can come in here and select an address and say, oh, okay, this is what I actually meant, or, confirm with them. And I'm able to go ahead and update that. And then that, of course, will update the address here as well. So you're able to use the address verification service. And again, that's available on the quote, on the order. It is also available in other places as well. So if you are on the business partner themselves and you're doing the maintenance to your ship tos, you can see we have address verification. And there are a couple of other functions that we're going to have here for freight management as well that, if we wanted to do a session specifically on freight management, we could. But you do have the ability, for example, to be able to track account numbers for your carriers at the customer level, at the address level. So again, you can see here I have my ability to keep track of UPS information there, as well as at the a contact person level. So each person is going to be able to maintain the appropriate rules for that customer. I'm going to go ahead and put a delivery date in, and I'm going to add this order. When I come back to it, you'll notice that there's also a packing tab. Again, this packing tab is available both on the quote and the order. And the packing tab is going to show us what the default packing was based on the item master. So again, when you go into your item master, you had a definition here on the sales data as to what your packing type was and what your weights were, and all that's standard SAP. So when we look at this, you get a default view. You can also look at the package view, so you can see it's currently put everything into one package. Now, the reason that we have this, most people aren't going to make a pack plan at the quote or the order level, but we do have the ability to come in and do rate shopping. And what the rate shopping goes and does is it goes out and communicates with UPS and FedEx, U.S. Postal Service, whoever the carriers you have configured are, and it gives you the ability to see the different prices as well as the days to delivery. And you can also come in here and select one and go ahead and quote it. So what that's going to do is it's actually going to update the document down here so that you can see that the freight charge is actually populated in here as well, and it's selected or changed the carrier. Now, we also offer the ability to come in here and modify the shipping profile. So you can have default profiles that you want, but if you want to be able to come in and define, for example, that it's going to be billed to the customer or something along those lines, you have the ability to do that, as well as being able to change the ship from address. So I can have it shipped from my warehouse. I can have it shipped from the customer if I'm doing a blind shipment. Third parties, and we have a full third-party address book in here as well to be able to maintain your addresses. So again, you've got this functionality here that's going to give you the ability to get an accurate rate quote as well as a time estimate for the products directly from your quote or from your order. In addition to that, you have the ability if you needed to. So for instance, if you wanted to be even more accurate and you knew this stuff was going to ship together in one box, you could edit the packing slip where you can come in here and modify the packing so that instead of having everything be in its own box, you could for instance repack and then just take the products and then put them into maybe all into a pallet. So I'm going to come in here and say, okay, I'm doing 3 of these, all 10 of these, and 2 of these, and pack them all into the one box. And then once I go ahead and update that, you can see it will go ahead and make it so that I can keep track of the information that way. So now when I go back into my package view, it's all on the one pallet. And if I do my rate shopping, it will update accordingly. We also wanted to take a look and show you how the web services have improved the use inside of Business One so that you don't need to go out to the carrier software like you do in the SQL. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go into the inventory and the pick and pack manager. And the pick and pack manager is going to obviously show us all the documents that we can pick. And of course, when we get into WMS, the ability to use the pick and pack manager is now going to give us a lot of flexibility when it comes to deciding how you want to create pick tickets so you can pick all like items together and create a wave, or create, pick by a certain zone, or assign picks to people, a bunch of different things. But in this particular case, I'm just going to go to a document that I've already picked because I want to show you what happens. So in here, as I mark off this document, you'll see I can come in here and I can create the packing, and it creates a packing slip. That packing slip is going to have the information about where it's shipping to in the packages. So here you can see I get all that information that came directly from the documents. So I see where it's shipping to, where it's shipping from, how it's shipping. I can modify this if I need to. And then I also have my different packages. So you can see in this particular case, I have 2 boxes with 2 different products and different quantities in it, and the equivalent weights. And so now I'm able to go ahead and if you'll notice the tracking number is blank and I want to be able to communicate. So I just simply press ship, and what this is going to do is it's going out and it's communicating with the UPS system, and optionally I had it automatically create the delivery. I could have also had it automatically create the invoice or the delivery and the invoice, or I could have left it with just the labels and allowed it to come back in and create it via one of the other processes. But now what's happened again is you can see I've got the tracking numbers. That delivery was created. And if I go take a look at the delivery that was just created, then you'll see that the information is also moved into the delivery as well. So when I look at the logistics, you can see here that the tracking number is populated, and you also can come into the packing slip. Now in this case, this is the SAP packing slip, but all the information has been duplicated, including the freight management tracking number. From here, you could also reprint the labels. This will actually print the carrier's label. We store that so you can reprint them if they got damaged or lost. You could also void the shipment directly from here, which will cancel it out, or you could track your shipment based on the carrier configuration. So, really it's a nice way to be able to do your shipping because everything will be in system and you don't need to go out to an outside system. Now, while we're here, another thing that I wanted to kind of go over just as a little bit of a preview here, I'm just going to drill into the business partner and find Dollar General again. We had talked about the social media integration. If we take a look at Dollar General, for example, what you can see that we've done in order to be able to facilitate that is on the contact person, you just come in here and you're able to identify what their Twitter handle is going to be, and then just to kind of give you an insight as to how it works, this is live information where it's going out and it's reading directly from Twitter. So you're able to come in here and see what each of the tweets are based on it. So it's going to be very simple to be able to get the Twitter information. You basically are just going to have the ability to assign Twitter IDs, and then we'll be able to display the information by customer, by contact person, and again, you can get your insights into how you're performing as a brand, if there's any complaints, if you're getting mentions, if you're getting retweets, which is of course a positive thing, all of the other analytics, and you can use analysis to be able to determine whether or not it's a positive or negative functionality. Now we're going to be moving into the mobile platform in just a moment, but what I wanted to do is also show you the enhancements that we've done with respect to the authorizations. So authorizations, as you know, inside Business One, you have your general authorizations, and then if I come into a user authorization section, you can see this is where we've traditionally managed all of our module authorizations. Historically, we didn't do that with the mobile, but now what we've done is we have moved that in. So we've created the mobile authorizations. They're now going to be managed here in the general authorizations as additional authorizations. So this is great because it makes it easier for you to be able to manage them in terms of being able to copy them to other users, all the functions that you can do with your authorizations. And you also are going to be able to get much more specific with the authorizations. So instead of just giving somebody access to a function, so here you can see, for example, within the quick search, you're able to allow or not allow the user to be able to get, business partner information, inventory information, pick list search, and production sales order. So you have the ability to come in here and be a lot more narrow with respect to what authorizations you're giving. This is, of course, still, working with within the framework of the mobile platform, where whatever authorizations you give people, that's what they'll see. So here I have everything set up, I'm authorized for everything, but if I was only authorized to do picking, for example, I'd only get this box. Now, this is the mobile platform that we have, and it's based on SAP Fiori, so it's all responsive design. So you can see how it was for a computer, and then if I sort of make it more like a tablet, you can see, how it resizes for the tablet, and you can, swipe. And then if I was to resize it down to a smaller device like a scan gun or a phone type size device, you're able to see how it dynamically resizes. So this gives you the ability to work on the iOS, the Android, anything that can support HTML5, so laptops as well. So you can pick different devices for different functions, and anything that can really be a smart device basically is going to allow you to work on that. So one of the new features that we've added, some of you may have already seen the WMS system here, is the ability to do your bin replenishments. So you can come in here and you can see I get bin replenishments shown up, and it tells me that I have the ability to look here. I'm looking at Warehouse 2, and I can see what's below minimum or what's below maximum. Now if I load this, what the system's going to do is it's going to dynamically figure out what products are below their mins, their min maxes, and then it's telling me where to be able to replenish this from. So on the SAP Bin Master, we went ahead and indicated which was a replenishment source, meaning that it's not a picking location typically, and then we're able to look at the bin. So it's telling me to take it from my replenishment location and move it to bin 2A4. If I take a look at the details for this, you can see why. So if I look at the bin details for bin 2A4, you can see that the current quantity is 24. The maximum that we're trying to get is 100. So we want to be able to move 76 pieces to be able to get this bin back up to its maximum. And again, you can do this based on mins or maxes, and it will always be dynamic. So every time you come in, so I simply come in here and say that I want to transfer the 76 of them, and it would come through. If it was serialized or batch managed, you'd be able to process that as well, just like we would in any of the other documents inside the mobile platform. And then I simply finish this, and it will go ahead and it will post using the service layer directly to Business One. So there's no synchronization, there's nothing that's going in the middle as a processor. This actually is posting directly to Business One and that transfer is now completed. So in addition to looking at the replenishments, we also have enhanced the searching functionality. So I probably should have shown you, you notice that the quick search is available pretty much wherever you go. So anywhere you are, if you want to be able to use your laser to scan something, or if you're using a tablet and you want to type something in, you have the ability to do that search wherever. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to search, for instance, 486, because I've scanned a barcode on a document, and you can see here it's showing me that it found a match for both sales orders and purchase orders. So if I take a look at the sales orders, you can see sort of the beginnings of what's coming with the mobile order to cash, where I'm able to see the details of the order history, the lines, so I can see all the lines, footer information, as well as any attachments, or being able to add attachments to the document. So this is available for purchase orders, for sales orders. And if I come in here and I search PS001, which is an item number, and I could have used the item number, a portion of the item number, barcode, whatever I want, you'll see that it's able to come in here. And as before, I'm able to come in here and use the details. So I'm able to see what my bin quantities are. If I want to be able to hide or reorder columns, you can come in here and use your form settings, as well as being able to, reorder things and be able to sort. So if I want to see by quantity, you can see that it's showing me my smallest quantity to largest quantity. You can also come in and look at the product details. So, there's a picture that you'd be able to see here. You can also look at the warehouse quantity across your different warehouses, being able to see what's in stock and available. So if you need to answer a question, you can do so. If there are attachments, you're able to come in here and see the attachments coming directly from the item master, as well as being able to browse to upload, a new file. And then another thing that we're kind of excited about is the ability to go back and look at the history. So I can see, for example, that currently, there is no inventory quantity in bin 2A1, but there had been previously, and you can see the last time that there was inventory, and that was December 19th. So, again, you're able to get, a lot of information from this. And once again, that quick search functionality, I could use any of the the features to be able to get that. So if I search Poland, you can see here I'm able to find my different products, and I'm able to get into that same result. So, we looked at that, being able to use that same quick search for being able to do sales orders and purchase orders and inventory and barcodes. You could do production orders. And again, those are all the things that you can also control in the authorizations, so that you can control what people have access to. So for example, if I search parameter, I can see, my business partners and be able to get information to this too, including ship tos. So all of this is controlled by the authorizations. Now, I showed packing inside of SAP Business One, inside the desktop suite. We also do offer packing as a function on the handheld. So again, here you can see this would have been after the picking. So you could do your picking by sales order. When you do look at your sales order picks, for example, you do have the ability to come in here and, create your picks and do your wave picks. There's also a functionality that's available in the user preferences to be able to decide whether or not you want to see everyone's picks or just my picks, and that will impact the numbers that you're seeing here, because it will tell you down here there's 29 documents to be picked, but only 3 of them are assigned to me. But we're going to go ahead and assume that we've already done the picking and go into the packing process. So as I look at the packing process, I would scan the documents. I'm going to come in here and say that I got document number 801. In this case, it was sales order number 801. And you can see it shows me the products that were on that. Now, in this particular case, for time purposes, I just chose, one product that's not serial or batch managed, but this could be as many products as you need, and they can be serial or batch managed. Once you see them, you can come in here and see the details. You can delete a line if you don't want to. If you're ready to pack, you can go ahead and hit pack. And what this is going to do is it's going to give you a packing form that you can do directly from your smart device. So you'll notice here right now all of my product is unpacked. What I'm going to go ahead and do is just define what I'm packing. So I'm going to say that I'm going to put the first stuff in a box, and we'll go in here and indicate it's 3 kilograms or whatever it's going to be. In here, I can now scan my product code. So I can say, okay, and then the quantity that I'm going to take is 3. So I'm putting 3 of them into the box. That's now packed. And then if I want to add a second box, I just press add. It creates a second box. I can come in here and specify a different box type. So for example, maybe it's going to be a pallet. Again, you can come in here and scan, or in this case, look up the product, and then I'll go in and be able to enter in the effect that I'm putting in the remaining 7 units. And now I've got my packages all packed, where I've got my 2 different packages, different types, different quantities,
If I look at unpacked, you can see it's completely packed. If I look at packed, I can see everything that is packed, so I can see how it's packed. And then once this data is done, you just simply come back here and save it, and that's going to complete the packing so that you know that you're done packing, and this will be available now for carrier labels and other functions. So full functionality in terms of being able to do the packing directly on the device. What we're going to do here is also go ahead and take a look at some of the new reports and analytics. So I'm just going to go back to the main menu and we'll go ahead and take a look at our analytics. Now in the analytics function, you have the ability to see the reports and the KPIs. So you have the ability to come in here and see from the analytics the reports current statuses. So current status gives you like what each user is currently doing. So I'm able to see who's logged in and what document they're processing. So Will is processing a sales order right now. You're able to look at your bin levels, for example. So if I want to come in here and see what's happening in aisle A, I can get a visual display of my warehouse and see what bins are at capacity. I can click on it to be able to see what's in the bin. So you get a lot of functionality that's available, but what we're specifically adding new is the ability to come back in here and look at some of the reports. So we've had the employee report, we added the bin velocity report. And what the bin velocity report is going to allow me to do, if I'm a warehouse manager and I want to see, do I have my products in the right spot? I'm taking a look at this month, for example, and you can see I want to see the items sorted by, I can do the most moves, the most quantity, and when I choose Get Report, you'll see here it shows me the bins. Okay, since we're doing a bin velocity report, and there has been a total of 8 movements, 8 times that somebody touched this bin. And if this bin is in the middle of my warehouse or the back of my warehouse and it's creating an inefficient path, I might want to consider, moving the product around to be able to make it so that I touch my most frequent bins. And again, I could have done that similarly, so it's sorted by most moves. I could have sorted it by most quantity or least quantity, and again, that's basically going to show you the same data. You have the ability to choose the sort here. You can also do the same thing by item velocity report. So your item velocity report is going to be similar, where I come in and I'm going to choose my date range, and then after I choose my date range, again, I can look and see which products have I touched most frequently. So you can see that Poland Spring Water that we were using is moved the most frequently, and so again, if that's what I'm touching, I should make sure that that's something that I consider keeping in close proximity. That is going to really allow a warehouse manager to be able to get insight without having to go do complicated analysis or whatever, and they can direct somebody to go do a warehouse transfer or any other function to be able to work with that. Now also we've released the quality control module. So the quality control module is inside Business One as well. You don't need the mobile for it, but what's really good about giving people the mobile platform for your quality control processes is that you give them the tablet, they're able to manage and record the inspections in real time, as opposed to getting a piece of paper and then writing it down and then sending it into an office or going back to a computer. So here you can see I see the number of inspections that we have and the number of inspections that belong to me. So if I come into the pending inspections, I'm just going to search for a document. You can see here, in this case, I've got a goods receipt PO that had 2 different products on it. I'm just going to go ahead and assign it. Now, in this case, I can assign it to somebody else. I'm going to take it for myself, and I'm going to go ahead and create that. Now, you'll notice that when I come into my inspections, that document is now available for me, and I'm able to come in here and process the inspection. So as I look at this, you can see I have 2 different products that need inspection. I'm going to come in here and inspect this first one, and it will show me immediately what it is that I need to do. So I need to look for scratches, and I need to be able to confirm the length. Now I also have the ability to come in here and specify what tools I used to be able to do the inspection. So if I'm documenting it for ISO compliance or just for good measure, you have the ability to keep track of that, the calibration date, the serial number. Again, you have the ability to look at attachments or browse to be able to include attachment. So if I've got an output that came from a machine and I want to be able to include that, I can go ahead and add that, and you can see that's added. And of course, you have the ability to make remarks as well. And let's take a look at the action here. So you have the ability to come in and do your process one thing at a time. So if you're doing a large sample and you want to be able to do, okay, was it scratched, then I move over to another machine to be able to see, its length, or I can come in here and just answer everything. So you can see, I'm going to go ahead and accept the fact that neither of them was scratched. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, this one was in the range, so it needed to be between 5 and 10. So that one's good. But if I come in here and specify that this one is out of range, you can see it's notifying me that I have a failed attribute. So at this point, what I can do is go ahead and save this. And now it's telling me once again I have 3 passes, 1 fail. I'm going to say yes, I want to save that. And it allows me to be able to go to the next step. Now, a lot of the times the person that's going to do the decision about what to do with the inspection is not the same person as the inspector. So there's authorizations that you can choose to say who's allowed to do the inspection as well as who's allowed to do the disposition. Obviously, I authorize myself to be able to come in and do everything. So as I come in here into the disposition decision, again, I have the ability to go through and review what the results were. I can, again, look at the tools. I can make attachments so you can see the attachment is there. And I'm ultimately going to be making a disposition decision. So I have the ability, for example, to come in and say, okay, I'm going to send it to be fixed, to be repaired, or I'll go ahead and accept it anyway, even though it's the wrong length, or any combination. But here in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reject it. You notice I have the ability to reject some portion of it. I'm going to be the person that makes the decision, and then I'm going to give it a reason code. So you can see here, these are all user defined. I'm just going to say that it was unrepairable, and we'll go ahead and save it. So at this point, I've now done everything from my tablet or smart device. Again, this is a way to be able to make sure that you're communicating what the QC process is electronically, as well as being able to make the decisions about what to do. And the inventory is not available for sale until it actually passes QC. And then once you make the disposition decision, so I rejected it, it's available to be returned to the vendor or to be scrapped or whatever your next step is going to be. But it's always isolated so that it's not available for sale. Now, if you are using a smart device that's got a barcode scanner, the other thing you can do for your serial or batch managed product is just come in and scan the serial number or the batch number. As soon as I scan or find the valid batch number, you can see it automatically finds for it where it is. You can see that it was against this GRPO, and I can immediately come in here and do whatever the next step is going to be. So in this case, this particular one needs to have its width and just check to see if it's discolored. Again, I can come in here and take a look at the actions. I'm going to say that this one was 6, which is within range, and it was not discolored. So I'm going to add that, and that will be a pass. And that it gives me the ability to just make this now available for sale. I'm just going to go into my test server here so that we can go through and take a look at the document delivery. So document delivery, which has been available in the SQL product for a very long time, is now available again inside the HANA product. So you can see it's got pretty much the same configuration that if you've used it before, where you're able to come in here and specify whether or not you want to save a copy of it as an activity, to be able to use your attachment, again, to be able to look at your different marketing documents, so everything from sales quotation to blanket agreements for your sales side, similar on the AP, purchase quotations, again, going all the way out to blanket agreements. If you're using our EDI, for example, we also support the EDI, in here. And then you have the choice of being able to do emailing. So you can email, you can use the SAP SBO mailer, you can go directly to Outlook. You can also support faxing from here. You have the subject and body where you're able to build your template. So for example, you can see here I said, okay, I want to insert the company name in the title, so it will say the name of the company and sales quotation, and I was able to fill out a template, and it's going to dynamically get the data. In order to be able to add it, you just simply click into the field and then right click, and then you can come in here and you can add different fields, whatever you've previously selected. So for example, if I wanted something from the business partner, you're able to come in here and I could give them their balance, their whatever it's going to be. You would just simply click that you want the balance, and it will put the balance there. Of course, I'm not really going to put the balance there. That wouldn't make much sense. So I'll clear that out. And then we'll go ahead and we'll take a look. And you can also test to be able to see what it's doing. So you can see the name of this company with Resolv Distribution Internal Sales Quotation, and then you can also test the body as well. So you can see it just grabs the first record and it shows the results. So this is part of that configuration process. And then again, you get the ability to come back down to your processing area where I can take a look and create a send for all of my sales quotations. So here you can see I'm filtering on all of my unsent sales quotations, and I'd be able to select one or many, however many I want, or select all, and then be able to send them to be emailed or printed automatically. You also, again, still have all the configurations that you had before, being able to put overrides at the business partner level, at the document level. I'm also going to go ahead and switch to show you what's coming with the Data Messenger. Data Messenger is going to be able to take you to a more advanced model where you have the ability to work you can still do transactions. So here you can see I'm able to work on transactions, and if I take a look at the transactions, you can see I support all the marketing documents plus some additional documents. So if you have a new item added, a new chart of account added, whatever you want. And you have the ability to come in here and create a trigger based on the event. So you can see here that we've got the add, the update. So in this particular case, when a purchase order is added, it's using this query to be able to find the fields. Again, you can control the statuses and whether or not you want to use Outlook to do your emailing. You can also build more complicated recipient rules. So in here, for example, I can specify that I want to send it to a field on the business partners from the user, from the contact person, sales employee, or other. Other allows me to use any field that's in the query. I choose where I want to grab it from, and I can specify whether or not it's going to be a text message because we support SMS, or an email. And then you can also build terms. So here you can see conditionally based on the document total. If this purchase order is less than $10,000, I'm going to go ahead and send it directly to the contact person on the purchase order because that's going to result in my being able to place the purchase order. But if it's over $10,000, I want when it's added to be sent to the buyer, which is the sales employee, to be able to review before it gets sent or forwarded to the vendor, as an example. Now, in addition to being able to control the recipients, you can also come in here and control the message. Similarly, you have the ability to come in here and build your template where you can specify, all the individual fields. Again, you have the ability to create your attachments, which can be based off of crystal reports. You also have the ability to do Word, Excel, CSV, XML files. You can dynamically name the file name based off of, fields from the template. And you can actually include a static file as well, which is great when you need terms. But one of the things that we're excited about is the ability to control in more functionality how you're going to create your activities. So you can see here I have the rule set that I wanted to create an activity as an AP follow-up, and I wanted to go to the creating user. But you see I have the ability to come in here and control who's going to get this activity. So it's not just a documentation. You can actually use this to create a workflow. And where this really gets to be useful is looking at it when you look at a query. So this one's not based on a transaction. This is just based on a query. So the same way you would use an SAP alert, you can create a query to be able to find any form of data, and now you have the ability to come in here and build a message, for example, where you're going to be able to create activities. So you can actually create activities as like a workflow and get them to pop up because they automatically pop up. You can get the traceability. You can assign things. You can really be pretty creative with being able to use the activity functionality. So this is just the beginning for Data Messenger. We have a lot more coming, but you can see here you already are going to have the ability to create the internal messages inside of SAP. You can send text messages out. You can do email messages. You can print directly. You can also create an FTP where you're going to be able to send the files, and you can have all those different file types. And of course, you can do all of the above as well. So you can choose to send a different message internally in an email and be able to control those functions. With that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pause the screen for a second and switch over to the SQL system, and then we'll take a look at the WMS and SQL just to be able to go some functionality there. So here we are inside of the SQL version of the product. Again, here what I'm looking at is both the product itself. Again, you can see we've got all of the different products like we always had. So we have a version of the Data Messenger called Alert Manager, which gives you some similar functions to be able to come in and do SMS messaging. Again, you have the ability to still do the freight, all of those functions that we've shown before. And of course, we've got our WMS functions. Now, within the WMS functions, what we're going to do here is I'm just going to log in. And this is going to give us the ability to do all the different functions. But what we want to emphasize is this particular one, we have both warehouse management and freight control together. So now what we have the ability to do is a couple of different functions. So one is I can still do my picking, but now I'm going to be able to assign the picking ahead of time. So there's functionality that's in the freight control setup for user groups where I can actually assign users to different locations and assign packages. I can pre-package my warehouse and be able to assign the users to it. So if I take a look at my user group setup in here, you'll see I'm able to identify these two users are in the same location, so I want pick team 1 to be able to go pick this portion of my shipping request, and then the shipping request can be consolidated with all the different people that are being processed. So you're going to to be able to make it so that when I come into the shipping request and I look to see a shipping request, and here you can see I'll just pick one, these particular documents would be filtered based off of the ship request package number and which team I belong to be able to see that. So again, some nice new functionality there associated with being able to do your picking. Of course, if you do your pre-picking, when it comes time to do your packing, you'll be able to do your packing, here as well. And this gives you the ability to come in and find any of the the documents that you've already picked, and then you're able to define, like we did before, come in and be able to give the details of the package, just like we showed on the tablet. So I can assign it to a particular package type. So I can say that it's going to be a box, but then I can also come in here and assign the box to a pallet. So if I'm going to say that this box is on pallet 1, you have the ability to do all of that. We'll save that, select this box, and then I can come in here and see my items. So there's 6 packs. I'll go ahead and pack 2 of the 6 packs on this pallet, create a new package so that I can come in here again, control the details for this. This is going to be a second box. This could also go on pallet number 1, whatever it's going to wind up being. And then you could do this repeatedly for, whatever you need to do for your selections. So now I'll come in here. You'll notice that it shows me I only have 4 left. So we're going to go ahead and select that, and I'll put all 4 on there. But I've got now 2 different boxes of my product all on the same pallet. So once again, you really have complete functionality here in the SQL as well. This is going to run on your traditional Windows mobile-based device, but otherwise a lot of functionality, and we're constantly expanding the WMS to be able to work with different functions. So when 9.3 comes out, we're going to be expanding our functionality that we currently have. So if you're familiar with this RMA acceptance, you had to currently save a return as a draft. When SAP gives us the new document, we're going to be expanding this. So even on the SQL, you'll be able to go in and create your return request, and then that return request will be able to be mobilized where you can scan something in and confirm that it's the right product, and then we're going to be enhancing it to trigger different functions. So if you have to return it to vendor or create a quality inspection process or something along those lines, that's all coming. So again, I appreciate you guys. Looks like we went just a minute or 2 over the allotted time, so I appreciate you staying with me. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or to us at Achieve It, and we certainly hope that you're excited about the new changes and the new functionality that we've presented. Thank you very much, and thank you for attending.